There was a war. The Great War. Manufacturing grew significantly to contribute to the war effort, making the United States emerge as a superpower by outcompeting the other industrial nations. During this economic high tide, we entered the Roaring Twenties. The Allies win the war.
For your valiant effort in World War I, the Great War, because we didn't know it was going on. Here we are, the Allies. You have won.
The factories moved away from manufacturing weapons and ammunition to consumer goods such as automobiles. With this economic growth, we see the inventions of the radio and other technological advancements start to facilitate life, such as refrigerators and washing machines. The birth of consumer culture erupted as widespread marketing through media influenced buyers.
During the war, men had to leave their jobs and be sent out as soldiers.
I need to go to war!
Women took over these jobs, such as arms manufacturing, which forced them out of the sphere of domesticity.
Gee, we must do our man's duties while they're at the war.
Yes!
The societal expectation following the war was that women would go back to the private sphere. But some women didn't care. They had tasted freedom and sought to continue it, creating the flapper. Their skirts went up higher, they smoked in public, and had the audacity to want to vote, leading to the 19th Amendment, granting suffrage to both sexes.
Only men should do this!
Beginning towards the end of the 19th century, immigration to the United States exploded to never-before-seen numbers. Many of these immigrants came from Eastern and Southern European descent. The diversity of new languages, religions, and customs had native-born Americans of Northern European descent feeling anxious and intensified their racial animosity. Congress reacted by establishing racial quotas from individual countries in order to create homogeneity within the United States. Into the Emergency Immigration Act of 1921, which limited the number of immigrants from any given country to 3% of the population of people from that country in the U.S. during the 1910 census. The National Origins Act of 1924 reduced the percentage to 2%. The acts significantly reduced the eligible amount of Southern and Eastern Europeans from coming in, as they only started to immigrate in large numbers during the 1890s.
Look over there. It's Europe. We just came from there, across the Atlantic Ocean, and we're for here this brand new land of opportunity. Let's go.
No more immigrants!
No more immigrants. No. Oh, God.
No more immigrants!
What's the matter, you ain't got no respect?
Almost all Asian groups were excluded from immigrating to the U.S.
After the ratification of the 18th Amendment in 1919, it was illegal to manufacture, sell, and transport alcohol in the United States. The 18th Amendment, combined with the Volstead Act, ensured that this prohibition of alcohol would be enforced. The prohibition lasted through the 20s and into the early 30s. Those who supported temperance included the Anti-Saloon League, the Women's Christian Temperance Union, and the Protestant. Speakeasies, or secret bars where alcohol was illegally distributed, contributed to an increase in crime rates. As crime rates rose, Al Capone dominated the organized crime scene, using alcohol as a gateway to raise them further. He made millions of dollars from bootlegging or illegally smuggling alcohol. The prohibition also affected immigrants. Alcohol was an important part of immigrant cultures, and the prohibition was often paired with anti-immigrant or nativist beliefs.
Take the alcohol. Right. Thank you so too.
The First Red Scare, which occurred starting after World War I, was spurred by the Russian Revolution against its long-standing stardom. Bolshevism, or Bolshevik-derived communism, emerged as the dominant ideology in the burgeoning Soviet Union. Overseas in the United States, ultranationalism, created out of the desire to stay out of World War I, culminated in the anti-Soviet and anti-communist sentiment of the 1920s. Combined with anti-union propaganda, this became a nationwide phenomenon known as the First Red Scare in America. The Red Scare influenced U.S. policy by making it publicly shameful behavior to vote for socialist or communist candidates. The scare began in the 1920s and was reinforced by social pressures during the Great Depression.
Introducing the Red Scare.
The Great Mississippi Flood of 1927 was one of the worst natural disasters in American history. The levee system of the river failed, leading to the intrusion of water into residential areas, drowning cities up to 30 feet in water. The flood lasted months, killing 1,000 people and displacing 700,000. People lost their homes and their communities.
Since the stock market exploded in productivity in the early 1920s, no one would expect a crash quite as detrimental as Black Monday. With the advent of consumerism, credit allowed consumers to make purchases with money that they don't have. These people bought speculative stocks and bonds in hopes of gaining wealth and achieving the American dream. Since these people didn't have the money to pay off the credit, they went into severe debt and couldn't escape the cycle as the risky investments fell through. This led to the fall of banks, which led to the fall of the economy. Since the US was an international superpower, its economic turmoil created a global economic turmoil as well.
I still see your shadows in my room. Can't take back the love that I gave you. It's to the point where I love and I hate you, and I cannot change you, so I must replace you. Oh, easier said than done. I thought you were the one listening to my heart. It started in my head. You found another one, but I am the